Hello, welcome to my channel House of Leo. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple phone cover using two granny squares. Here I have two made with just your basic ordinary granny square, and this one I have made using the spike stitch granny square, which I have a tutorial for. I shall link below. This is the one I'm actually currently using for my phone. These I made yesterday. They make great gifts, they keep your phone safe in your bag, and if you're anything like me, you'll have lots of spare granny squares knocking around. So this is a good way to use them up. So let's get started. So for this one, you're going to need two granny squares, your corresponding hook and some yarn that goes with your granny squares, a button and a needle. We will start by putting our squares back to back. I'm going to take a crochet hook, and from the very first corner I'm going to put it in the back loop only, and on the corner of the opposite one, back loop only. So it's sort of the front loop facing you at the, but if you turn it round that way, it's the back loop. We shall do a slip stitch, pull your tail end, and that secures it tight. Now we're going to go across into every stitch, back loop only, and do a UK double, US single crochet in every stitch along this row. So I will continue to the end and come back to you in a moment. So I've made it to the end of my row. I've used a contrasting colour just to show you the stitch. I also think that looks quite pretty. So now what we're going to do is take top one and fold it in half. We're going to do the same back loop only and stitch along to the centre fold. So continuing along to the end there. I'll continue along to at the end and come back to you once I get to this corner. So I have made it along to this corner now. We're going to cut and weave in our ends. I like to weave in my ends as I go. Some of you like to leave it to the end. I'm going to do it now because I like to just finish my project at the end. So I'm going to weave those in, and then I'll show you where to go next. So next we are going to fold this front panel towards itself. And starting from the folded corner, go in towards these two corners. Back loop only. Do my first stitch as a slip stitch. I can pull that end tight. Go along folded edge. These make great gifts. You could also add strap to them and have them as a little phone holder. And I haven't tried it yet, but I wonder what it would look like with a much larger square as more of a bag. That might be quite nice. So coming up to the corner here. Now when you get into your last corner one, make sure you're going into your stitches previous, just to keep the corners nice and tight. So you have your seam you've just created. I'm going to take this corner and that folds down to there. So we're going to work into this next one here. Fold that down as we go and work along this way. So you can see when that starts to flatten out and that starts to curl round. So continue all the way along until you join that corner with this corner. I'm going to keep going along now. You want to pause and catch up with me when I get to the end. So I've made it to the end of there. I'm going to just do one last stitch into the center. And now I am going to single US or double UK crochet around the whole top edge of this bag until I get to the point. So I shall continue along and come back to you when I get to the point. So I've made it to the center point. I'm going to slip stitch into it and then I'm going to chain 8. You could change the amount of chains you do depending on how large your button is. You want it to fit nicely. So I'm going to do 8. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to slip stitch back into the center points there. Just double check my button fits. Perfect. I'm going to continue around with my double crochets, UK terms, and do another row of that. So once I've got back to the center point, I'm going to continue around again, and then I'm going to do 8 stitches over my loop and continue around back down to there. So there are 2 rows of double crochets around the outside. I shall come back to you in a moment once I make it back to my loop. So I've made it back round to my loop. I'm going to do a UK double crochet into the center again, and then 8 doubles around the loop. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do one into the center again, and then just carry on along until you get back to the middle point on the other side. Snip your work and weave in your ends. Now all you need to do is sew on your button. The button sits here at the top, so just simply stitch your button on. I like to do this by going through the holes, and then the last hole, instead of going all the way through, I just go to the back of the button and then I wrap the yarn around and weave through that little wrap that you've created. And this just lifts the button up slightly from your bag, which helps the loop to sit on it. And then I'll just weave that in a few more times, making sure it's secure. And there you have it. Give it a bit of a shape. There's another lovely little phone case. I have my old phone here to show you what it looks like. This one's quite a small phone, it's a really old one. So this case will be a bit too big for it, but my other phone is bigger. And that in your bag is kept secure. I scratched the screen of my phone, which inspired me to make one of these because I was really upset. And it's been safe in my bag ever since. They're easy to open, they're easier to find in your bag when you're rummaging around. It's easier to find it once it's in something like that. And that one's come out really pretty. So there you have it. Phone covers, really easy to make, and you can probably make them out of any type of granny square. As I said, this one was the spiked stitch granny square that I have a tutorial for. But yeah, I'm sure if you did a flowery square or plain squares would look quite nice. Just experiment, see where it goes. Very simple, very easy, something to do in front of the telly with your spare squares. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll be back again soon with more. So see you again soon, guys. Have a lovely day.